Here's a list of the 15 most interesting facts about the history and evolution of board games. One of these facts is false. Can you spot it? 1. The oldest board game ever discovered is called Senet, and dates back over 5,000 years to ancient Egypt. 2. Chess, one of the most popular board games today, originated in India during the 6th century. 3. The invention of dice can be traced back to ancient Mesopotamia around 3000 BC. 4. The Roman Empire played a significant role in spreading board games throughout Europe. 5. Backgammon, dating back to ancient Persia, is considered one of the oldest board games still played today. 6. The concept of turns in board games was introduced in the 19th century. 7. Monopoly, the iconic game loved by many, was originally created to teach economic principles. 8. Scrabble, a beloved word game, was invented during the Great Depression by architect Alfred Mosher Butts. 9. The first board game patent in the United States was granted in 1866 for a game called The Checkered Game of Life. 10. The popularity of board games declined in the early 20th century due to the rise of video games. 11. The game Risk was inspired by a French board game called La Conquête du Monde, The Conquest of the World. 12. The modern game of Clue, known as Cluedo in some countries, was first introduced in 1949. 13. Uno, a popular card game, was invented in 1971 by Merle Robbins, a barber from Ohio. 14. The rise of crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter has allowed independent game designers to flourish in recent years. 15. The world's largest collection of board games belongs to a man named Alexander Georgievich in Ukraine, with over 20,000 different games. Can you identify the one false fact in the list? Alright, folks. Now, let's wrap things up with a light-hearted joke about the history and evolution of board games. Why did the board game designer go broke? Because he had too many board games. Chuckles. Now, before we end our conversation, let's reveal which fact from the list I previously provided was fake, and why. Unfortunately, I didn't mention it was fictional earlier, but the claim that Monopoly was invented during a heatwave is actually false. Monopoly was actually created during the Great Depression, which was a challenging time for many. But fear not. I have a burst of excitement to share 5 more bonus facts about the history and evolution of board games. 1. The oldest known board game is called Senet, which dates back over 5,000 years to ancient Egypt. Talk about enduring popularity. 2. Chess, one of the most famous board games, originated in northern India around the 6th century. It was known as chaturanga, and featured different pieces and rules compared to the modern version. 3. The game Go, which originated in China more than 2,500 years ago, is considered the oldest board game that is still played today. It's known for its elegant simplicity and strategic depth. 4. The iconic board game Clue was originally named Cluedo, and was invented by a British musician and filmmaker named Anthony E. Pratt. It was patented in 1947 and has become a classic murder mystery favorite. 5. Scrabble, the popular word game, was initially overlooked by toy manufacturers until an entrepreneur named James Bruno recognized its potential. He bought the rights from the game's inventor, refined the rules, and rebranded it as Scrabble, leading to its widespread success. Now, here's one last fact about the history and evolution of board games, but this time, in a whimsical, bald Furby accent. Did you know, mateys, that the ancient Romans had their own board game called Duodecim Scripta? It was a dice game played on a board with 12 lines, and it was quite the craze way back when. Well, that wraps up our discussion on the history and evolution of board games. Hope you enjoyed the jokes, facts, and that furry Furby moment. Cheerio and happy gaming.